Robinson from Here the Spirit, presented to you by NoleGameday.com. We are here live on a wonderful, fantastic Wednesday evening. Wonderful Wednesday evening. We're here with former FSU football star, defensive back, Jarrian Jones. Been looking forward to this one for a very long time, over a year now, honestly, but really wanted to get you on here after your time at FSU so we can just chop it up and do our own thing. But he's with us this evening. Also down below is Dustin Lewis, our lead writer and editor, our editor-in-chief at NoleGameday. And then down below is Austin Veazey, our lead basketball writer. Jarrian, what's going on, baby? Super excited to have you on here to speak with us this evening.
What's up, man? How y'all doing? Happy to be on.
Yeah, we were just talking in the production meeting, but you're over there in Dallas with a handful of other former Noles. Tell us about that, who you're with, and everything as you're getting prepared for the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, I'm out here Built For It and Prosper. Then I got Keon and Jared Verse. They over at Sports Academy, probably like 5 minutes from me. I be seeing them all the time.
Is it nice being able to chop it up also with those guys? I mean, I don't know how it went from after. What was your transition from after being in Tallahassee and then now going over to what you're doing now, training? Like, what have you been up to?
Now, I could definitely say, okay, so in Dallas, it's been kind of like cold, like super cold, like here. Like, it was like 9 degrees. You know, I've been in Florida like the last 4 years, so like snow, like that was never like a thing. So like I've been down here and I seen snow and it was just like, man, like, all right, okay. It's like every day I wake up, I work out at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And it's always like either 7 degrees. One day it was 4 degrees. One time it was -3 degrees. So like every day you wait, you come to your car, you never know what you're gonna see. But it's been fun though. I mean, we train indoors, so like the whole process has been fun. I'm learning a lot about my body, how to take care of it better. You know, just being out here with Keon and Jared versus like I'm kind of out here with like my brother still. So I mean, it's been a fun process.
Outside of the weather, how excited and how fun has it been to prepare for the Shrine Bowl? You're talking about, you know, before we started, you're going to be reporting tomorrow, and how excited are you for that opportunity to practice and then get a chance to play in that game?
Nah, I'm very excited for the opportunity to play in this game because we get to show everybody. You know, I'm not in it by myself. I'm in it with Renardo Green, Kalen Deloach, Fabian Lovett, Jay Trav. He's in it too. So it's kind of like I'm not in it by myself. So it's kind of like I'm just ready to show them that we went to Florida State. So I was like, you know, like the standard of Florida State is different. So.
Is Verse still talking trash? Because I saw today he posted on Twitter of him. He supposedly did one-on-one with Keon.
I think he talks more now than he did when we were in season.
There's no way.
I'm not too shocked by that, but how much are you looking forward to getting to the combine? We were talking in the production meeting, and you said you're feeling good, body's feeling good, but you still got a lot of prep ahead. But whenever you're looking forward to the going to your pro day, then also to, and you can talk about it too here. I don't know if it's been shared anywhere, but about the combine as well. How you feeling about that prep?
I'm very excited. You know, it's one of those things that you dreamed about, like when you were younger. Like just, you know, the old man used to have the combine on there. You get to do all the drills at the combine and stuff like that. So like actually being in it and not being that kid, like watching it on TV, like it's kind of a shock. And I wouldn't say a shock, but it's kind of like, dang, like I'm living what I always wanted to do. So, I mean, it's a blessing for sure. And then I'm in it with some of the players from Florida State, some of my brothers. So it's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of just what I'm trained for, kind of what I'm built for. So, I mean, it's just fun though.
You're in training, and also the guys still back in Tallahassee are training. The tour of duty started last Friday. Yeah. So I figure now's the best time to ask you. You know, you were in it for a couple of years. What was that experience like, and how tough is it really being out there in those workouts?
And are you missing it?
No, I definitely don't miss it at all. But tour of duty is dead serious. Like, but everything that you see during the season from us, like as a team, the resiliency, the dog mentality, the finish mentality, that's where all of that came from. It's deeply rooted in that. Like tour of duty, as crazy as it seems and as crazy as it is doing it, like it's definitely needed. Like I definitely see it definitely molded the identity of our team. So like I feel for them boys going through it because when you first walk in, you see the ambulance sitting at the end of the facility. You like, man, what am I walking into? Like you know, and it's like, man, like you never know what's gonna happen in there. And then I heard this year they changed some of the drills though, so it's probably even worse than when I was doing it. And so, man, and then the standard of what the season was just now, I know Coach Norvell came like on some crazier stuff.
What is being with Storms like? Because not only are you going through tour of duty, but you've got your strength and conditioning stuff going on in the weight room. But what is Coach Storms like? I think a lot of fans are always interested in hearing what he is behind the scenes.
Exactly what you see on Instagram with him like lifting all the crazy weights and that's him. Like that is him to the T every day. When he wake up in the morning, he eat, sleep, breathe, weights. But there's not a thing in the world he won't do for you. Like he's intense. That's definitely what he is every day. But like I look at him as almost like that role model of a person that you strive to be like. Like he does everything right. Like he can get you through your day. Like if you can call Coach Storms about anything and he's gonna give you the right information. He's gonna give you the right advice. I ain't gonna lie. I don't have like Coach Storms is like your model citizen of what it's to be. He's just insane, but like he's your model citizen.
To kind of add to that, what's it like picking up that sledgehammer and getting a chance to swing it down and break those rocks after some of those games?
It's way heavier than it looks, but doing stuff like that with your team and you got the team around you and coming off a game and you just had a great game and they picked you to break the hammer is just, I don't think it get no bigger than that. Like that's probably one of the things I fell in love most with at Florida State, especially this last year because I broke it a lot of times. So I mean that's just I ain't gonna lie, I love Florida State, everything that comes with Florida State. So I mean breaking a rock, that's surreal to me.
Yeah, because I want to talk about that. Your love for Florida State, and I want to bring it all the way back to your recruitment and going through the transfer portal to Mike Norvell. What got you into trusting Mike Norvell and that staff and going to Florida State?
I had so when I was in high school, nobody knows this story, right? Okay, so Coach Norvell actually recruited me. He was at Memphis to play receiver. He wanted me to play offense. So when he came to the school, he was walking the hall, and they got me out of class. I came out, talked to him. He told me, yeah, I had an offer at Memphis. And it was kind of told him, like, yeah, I know. Like, yeah, I know. Like, it's not going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an under All-American at the time, you know, I'm like 16. Like, I'm feeling myself. It's like, man, like, come on, man. Memphis, come on, guy. Like, no way you think, like, I'm going to Memphis, guy. Like, what are we talking about? And so then, like, it's crazy how life comes full circle. Because when I got in the portal and he was recruiting me, it was kind of like I already knew what I was getting with him. Like, and I had some friends that went to Memphis and played for him. It's like I already had a relationship with him. And then Coach Marv, he's coached at Mississippi State my freshman year, and he came here as a linebackers coach. So that made the transition even easier. Like, it was more of a like, okay, I understand what I'm getting at. So, like, when I committed to Ole Miss out of the portal, I was going because, you know, Terrell Buckley, he was my DB coach my freshman year at Mississippi State. You know, things went on. They wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't get to Ole Miss. That just wouldn't happen. They wouldn't letting that go on. And so Florida State just felt like the easiest and the best transition. And I knew Coach Norvell, how he was at Memphis and how he had that program. And I knew with Florida State, and as big as Florida State was, the brand of Florida State, the traditions and everything, I knew what he would be able to come in and do. I didn't know how long it would take. I definitely didn't know that. I didn't know it would end up being my year 4 being with him, but he turned it around, and I feel like it was the best decision I ever made in my life. It changed the trajectory of my life. So, I mean, I'm forever indebted to Florida State. Like, I'm living and dying by Florida State.
I was just about to bring up T-Buck. Obviously spent 1 year with him at Mississippi State. One of the best to ever do it at Florida State. What was he like as a coach?
Man, I almost look at him as like a father figure. Like, he used to, okay, I'll put it like this. And this is him. Like a day before the game, you want to know what we watch before we get ready to leave? He pulls up his highlights. It's probably like 13 minutes long. We watched it like 4 times. He just sit there and plays his highlights. He was like, if you play like this, you're gonna make a lot of money. And that's it. That's boom. That's it. But he had a rule that you're not getting in the game if you don't have no lotion on. Like, you're ashy, he's not putting you in the game. If you don't have a haircut, you're not getting in the game. If you get bombed, he's gonna tell you keep on running all the way out the stadium, all the way to the locker room, just take your pads off because you're no longer playing today. But like that was just him. Like that was just like his playful personality. But he was dead serious though. He wasn't playing, but he was dead serious. But that's just him. Like he really kept me in football for real because a lot of things were going on when I was at Mississippi State, and I was at a point where I was just like, man, I really don't want to do this. And so like he kind of kept me in. I still talk to him every day to this day. Like he's almost like he's really like a father figure to me. So yeah, that's what T-Buck is.
When you made that decision to transfer to FSU, you and Fabian Lovett obviously came in together. Was that something that you guys planned, or did it just kind of work out that way?
Now, we planned to go to Ole Miss together. That was the plan. That was the plan, to go to Ole Miss together. And then, like I said, stuff happened. So when we first got to Florida State, I remember like it was yesterday, Coach Norvell came. So I didn't know nothing about Coach Fuller. Adam Fuller, I didn't know nothing about him. I didn't know Coach Woodson like that. My last memory of Coach Woodson was when I was in high school. He wanted me to come take a visit to Auburn. I told him I was going to play 7-on-7. I guess that kind of rubbed him the wrong way. He was like, how you going to choose 7-on-7 over like, that was my last memory of him. So when I got to Florida State, me and Fable was sitting in the room together. And Coach Norvell walks in, Coach Fuller walks in, and we just sitting there talking. I could just remember like when they left out, because Coach Norvell was as intense as he is every day. Like my first reaction with him coming in, me and Fable just look at each other like, bro, what did we just do? Like, what are we doing? And so like nobody knows, but the first month that me and Fable were at Florida State, we didn't even leave the room. Like we didn't leave the room, we didn't go to the workout, we didn't do nothing. Like, cause in our mind we were like, bro, what are we doing? Like we have to find a way to get out of here. But eventually we just like fell in love with everything that was going on and adapted, and it ended up becoming the best decision we ever made.
You think that's something unique about Norvell? Like, it's going to take a lot of work, and you've also got Coach Storms there, but just after a while, you get used to, not even get used to it, you fall in love with the process that Norvell delivers for you guys.
Yeah, man, I ain't gonna lie, I don't even think it's enough words I can say about Coach Norvell. I mean, he really pushed me to limits I never thought I'd be able to reach. Like, it was a time period in practice where every day he'll just walk up to me and say I was mediocre. And so like me and him had like this, we got like a crazy relationship. He's almost like my best friend. Like we got like a crazy relationship. So like when he would say that, he knew it would kind of like make me mad, like take me to a point to where he knew like he's gonna get everything out of me. But like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, Coach Norvell was probably like one of the best things that happened in my life. Like he did everything for me. Like he did a lot for me, a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Like he had my back when nobody had my back. Like he was always there. Like, and being 17, when you see that type of intensity from him, if you don't really love football, you're not gonna rock with it. But like in my mind, when I first seen him, I was like, bro, this man be tripping. But then as it goes on, you start to understand. You like, he's a genius. Like he is a freaking genius. Like he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to get the best out of his players, and he cares for his players. Like what you see with him is exactly what you get. So like I can't even put in the words what Coach Norvell mean to me. Like that he did it for me.
You kind of talked about it, but you and Fabian were a little unsure when you got to Florida State. Do you remember the moment maybe when you guys started buying in? Because obviously, when you guys now leave in Tallahassee a couple weeks ago or a month ago, you both left as two huge leaders and two huge playmakers on the field.
I could honestly say the buy-in maybe came like a year after I got there, a year and a half after I got there. Because I remember the first year, that COVID year, that was just a blur. Like it was just so much going on, like so much behind the scenes going on that was so far out of control that we couldn't do anything about. So like my first year at Florida State, I really don't even count that as you count it as a year, but it's kind of like, it's just like, hey man, that was just, hey man. I think that year was rough for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so like
everyone
I
personally,
really see that 2021 year, I would say after we played after we lost to Jacksonville State, like that crushed me. Like that crushed me so bad. So, like I kind of just seen myself like just like go in the room and just think and like that shit hurt me though. Like that shit hurt me, dog. I ain't gonna lie. So I just could see like from that moment on, I could kind of see like the transitions of stuff going on. You know, we saw people leave from Florida State, new people come in, and like you kind of see like that 1% everybody talks about. Like I could kind of see it slowly but surely like changing. And then we come back to that 2022 year. I think that's the season we start off 4-0. We started off 4-0 like we were hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we lost that 3 straight, it was on. We figured out how to win. Like we understood what it took, and we started to trust the process of what this is and what it takes to actually win. It was kind of hard at first because we doing everything you say do, but we're still losing. So now it's kind of like how are we supposed to trust the process if it ain't working? So like I think we just as a team we talked to each other. We just kind of said we're just gonna go all in. Whatever happens is gonna happen. So I think we just went all in. That's when we started to see the leaf turn and see everything change. It's one story I remember. Me and Ronaldo Green, we sat at the gas station right up the street from Champs. I pulled up to put some gas in my car. He was already there putting some gas in his car. We just sit there. We sat at the gas station and talked for 3 hours about just like, bro, we got to do something. We got to turn this around. Like, it was some talks to like, bro, should we leave? Like, what do we need to do? Like, we don't even know what it is. And I think that day was like big for us. I think that kind of changed a lot for us.
I think that's massive right there. You and Ronaldo have a really close relationship. How did that build between y'all two? I've loved his play. I've been highly respectable of him since years and years ago. And just to see his position change and he goes down to being a lockdown corner. Not a lot of people talk about corners sometimes because sometimes if they have quiet nights or quiet days, they're doing their job right. But tell us about Ronaldo Green.
I'm my best friend. Like that's like, you know, like 7 and 8. That's my road dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? I call that dude. I'm like, but let's go do this. He like, come on. Like, don't nobody know, like, nobody knows what we actually put into this. Like, no, they just see, like, they say the turnaround or like you know what I'm saying? They say most improved or whatever, but like, they never knew what we put into it. Like 2021, I think he was hurt. He messed his foot up. 2022, he was trying to come back from, but nobody knows what he actually put into trying to do it, like trying to come back. Nobody knows what he went through mentally. They definitely know what he went through physically trying to come back. And so I think he's top 5 corners in the country. If not, like I definitely think he's up there because he did everything the right way. He wasn't a big talker. He wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, he ain't one of them guys, but like he put the work in and it showed. It definitely showed. Like I became cool with him. Like we wasn't even, when I first got here, me and him, like I just see him. He wasn't talking. He'll see me. I was talking. It was just be like, hey, what up? It was just like, hey, what up, cuz? And that was it. Like that was the relationship at first. But like the more we started talking, the more we started understanding each other's story. What made each other go, like our whys, what made him click, what made me click. It was just like, bro, we kind of the same person. I just talk way more than you. And so then I think we just kind of like built a relationship, and that's just it what it is. Like that's my best friend. Like I literally was just talking to him right before we got on this.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I wanted to ask, before your final season, Florida State obviously made a change in the defensive backfield, decided to bring on Coach Pat Surtain. What was it like playing for him this past year? And, you know, maybe how was it different from playing under Coach Woodson previously?
I would just say that Coach Pat has been there and he's done it. And he has a son that is doing it at a very high level. So I wouldn't say it makes it easier to listen to him, but like he's been there and done it. So it's kind of like when he tells you this, is like you have to believe it. You have no reason of why you should not believe it. And the way he is, like I don't know if y'all had a conversation with him, but he's very like he talks with some conviction. Like he talked like with very strong, like you can see the personality in him. So like when we get on the board and he's talking ball as if like he's like our homeboy, like he's like trying to put us on game, like a big brother, like, hey bro, you gotta do it like this, bro. It's gonna work, bro. I'm telling you. Like he gives that. So like you can see he get all the recruits, everybody just wants to play for him because like he's like a player coach and he knows ball, like a guru of ball. And it don't get no better than Coach Pat. Like I ain't gonna lie, I see a lot of DB coaches in the world, but like I don't really think it get no better than Coach Pat. I feel like he was a very like big focal point of that season we just had last year. I feel like that was like a home run type hire. I feel like that was exactly what we needed. Like that was a splash that we needed. Like I ain't gonna lie, that boy, like he one of the ones for me. Like I still talk. He just texted me right before this.
That's awesome, man. Him still staying so close and connected. And I feel like that marinates, and it did marinate over to this last season because you saw the growth from not only you guys too, but these youngsters, man, who I think a lot of FSU fans are excited to get to know more of and see more playing out of. Definitely with Azare Thomas coming out. I mean, got a big season ahead for him. He's moving over. He's moving over to Renardo's number 8. He's gonna be Loco Ocho. And then you got a handful of other guys too that are got so much talent that I think Mike Norvell and Adam Fuller put out there early on to kind of rely on, and they did in some of these games. Tell us a little bit about that younger defensive back room going into this 2024 season.
I think the world of Azari, I feel like Azari has it. Like from a young age, I seen when he came in, like he just had that it about him. Like he definitely has. You could tell he had some brothers that played football before him that kind of put him on game when he was young. Like I definitely think the world of him and Quindarius. I think once it clicked for him, like he didn't have as much. You know, we come from Mississippi, so it ain't really nothing else. So he didn't really have that really no coaching growing up. He was just a big, long athlete. He can run, he can jump, he can catch, he can do all that, but didn't know what it took to actually become great. Like that process I was telling you about with Coach Norvell, he didn't understand that. Like he just grew up, I'm bigger than everybody, I'm faster than everybody, I jump higher than everybody, I'm better than everybody. That's just really what he lived by. So now you can see that he's starting to turn that leaf of understanding what he has to put into it to get out what he wants. And so, I mean, we got a good young group like Conrad Hussey. He's going to be one of one. He's best safety. When he comes out, he's going to be the best safety in college football. Like, we got some young guys. Edwin, he messed his shoulder, but he's one of them ones. Like, we brought in Charles, Kyle Bates, Jamari Howard. Like, we got some real, like, it's bad. Like, DBU is taking form. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just, not to say me and Renardo were like the starters of it coming back, but like I definitely feel like when Coach Pat came, that leaf turned into being something special. So that young group, I feel like they got something.
I want to lead you into this question here from YouTube. Got a donation here, $5, but asking you, great watching you play. Do you feel like you're a nickel or you can play boundary or field? What's your take on that?
I honestly feel like I could play all 5 positions in the backfield, safety, corner, and nickel. But funny story, my transition to nickel happened, okay. So I don't know if people remember when we played Florida in 2022, that game I had like a big game. You know, I think I had 2 sacks, a PBU, a pick, and all that. But they lined up in a lot of 12 personnel. So the corner had to be over. So it put me being in the slot a lot. And so, like, with that, it came with me having to blitz some and me being in coverage some, you know, me doing a lot. It just showed my full skill set. And so after the game, man, me and Coach Fuller had a conversation. He was like, we got to get you more involved. Like, we got to get you doing a lot more. Like, what you think about going down to nickel? I was like, I'm not opposed to it. Like, I'm kind of football smart, so I kind of understood what everybody in secondary is supposed to do. Like I say, with the linebackers, D-line, everybody's supposed to do. So when he presented it to me, like, I didn't have no problem. Like, I was just like, hey, you want to go play nickel? Cool. So, like, in the spring, I lined up at corner most of the time, but I went to nickels for, like, one-on-ones. I may get 2 plays at nickel throughout the whole day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just went like that. But when we got to the season, I was at corner for fall camp, and then I heard, you know what I'm saying, talks like, hey, you may go to nickel, you may do this, because we ain't got Fentrell. So it kind of was lining up for like, yeah, we're going to move you to nickel. But it never played. I wasn't practicing it or nothing like that. I just was studying it, and I may get some reps in one-on-ones. It's like, I think I know I messed my hand up in fall camp, so I didn't practice for like 2 weeks leading up into the first game. So like the week before the first game or 2 weeks before the first game, my hand was still broke. I'm still not practicing. They're like, yeah, you gonna play a lot of nickel. We're gonna move you to nickel. I'm like, cool, man. I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? You want to put me in nickel? I ain't tripping. And I moved to nickel, and it just, I was able to put my full skill set on display. So it kind of worked out. And I always used to play with them like, hey, man, y'all might always put me in nickel. They be like, nah, we're going to keep you at corner. And so it's funny how it worked out, me going to nickel.
Yep.
And it definitely worked out because you ended up being, one of the best players in the country at that position. How big was it for you each week to be able to practice against some other guys that are going to be going to the NFL and Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman?
I feel like it prepared me for everything I could even see in the game. Because I knew whatever I was getting in a game, like I've seen way better in practice. Not saying that anybody I seen was sorry, but it was like, come on, man, I'm going to Keon and Johnny every day. And when I go into the slot, I got to go see Ja'Kai Douglas in the slot. They even may put Keon in the slot. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like I was saying everything you could possibly think about. So it's kind of like, man, it's just like what are you going to do to me that I haven't seen Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning? Like, I've seen it all. So, I mean, and then me being at nickel and you talking about, well, I got Trey Benson in the backfield. Yeah, you got to come make up tackles too. So it's kind of like, what am I not seeing? I got a quarterback that can throw and run. It was up for the Heisman. So it's kind of like practice was the game. Like exactly how Norvell used to make it seem like how you practice is how you're going to play. Well, I had NFL practices every day. So what do you think I'm going to do in the game? Like, it's just going to translate even better. We went into games. I was confident in everything I was doing. I knew nobody could run past me because I've seen speed every day. Ja'Kai Douglas, I see that every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning for team tempo. I see it at 7 o'clock in the morning every day. I knew nobody's going to run past me. I knew nobody was going to bully me. I see Johnny Wilson every day. He's 6'7", 240 pounds. I see that every day. I knew nobody was going to run a better route than people. I saw Keon every day. Route runner. I see that every day. Where you want somebody to jump up, catch balls over your head. I see Tron every day. Mm-hmm. Every day. Yeah. So, like, I saw everything that I was going to see in a game. So we just went into games confident in everything we were doing.
I want to jump into this season, of course, and it was a lot that y'all had to deal with. It was ups, a whole lot of ups, crazy ups, and then downs. And I just kind of want to jump over to just y'all as a defense as a whole. You lose Jordan Travis and dramatic and awful kind of scenario there against North Alabama, a game where, you're expecting to win and, you get your starters out early and you're trying to stay healthy as you get ready for your rivalry game against UF and, might go to the ACC championship. But, take us through the defensive mindset from this year, because I think we, as fans too, we look at the offense a lot and, Mike Norvell, he's the offensive minded coach, and that there's tons of talent there offensively. But this defense was dominating throughout the entire season, Jarrian. It was absolutely dominating, and that's where, too, was the biggest argument, and we'll talk about it with the college football playoff snub, but that was the biggest argument. Florida State's defense is legit. It's real. It's elite, and it can go compete with these 4 teams that are in the college football playoffs. They can shut them down if need be. Tell us about that defensive mindset that y'all ran through all throughout the season, definitely, too, when Jordan Travis went down.
I think you just saw on display, a band of brothers that would do anything for each other, that loved each other, that were ready, that would play with their ass on fire, balls to the wall for each other. We had a thing, Coach Norvell brought it to us in the 2022 season, where if you see us start doing this, just know it is on. It is on and popping. Just know it's about to go down. If you see us doing this, it's about to go down. And that just talks about when we do this, it's that heart. Like just playing with that heart and just knowing that I'll do anything in this game for you. I'm willing to die here for you. Right now, today, it's going down about you. And that's what we would say in those huddles. Y'all would see us get in those huddles. You just see each other going around, punch each other on the chest, like, come on, it's that time. When Jay Trav went down, I think you kind of just saw that times 2, like times 10, actually. You saw it just like on a larger scale because we knew our offense is good. We had complete faith in Tate. We had complete faith in Brock. We knew that they can get it done. But our mindset was, okay, Jay Trav's hurt. If they don't score, they don't win. Regardless how much we score, whatever. If we score, that's just a plus. But if they don't score, they don't win. And that was our mindset. If they don't get in the end zone, we're going to win. Hey, simple. Like, that's so easy. That's the easiest math possible. So I think that's kind of what we played by. Like, you just saw everyone on that defense, we loved each other. Like, complete love, like a real love, like real brotherhood. Like, that's what one thing I can say. Like, we had a real brotherhood. Like, it ain't nothing in the world I wouldn't have did for them. And I know they would have did the same for me.
I think you really saw that too whenever y'all are up in Charlotte. Like that was wild to watch, man. Like I understand a lot of college football fans, they want to watch offense, they want to see some big plays being made offensively. But if you love watching defense, that was just a great game to watch.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
For you, Jarrian, I mean, so many incredible games this past season, so many times that you guys, it looked like maybe you were down for the count, but then you came back and responded from the adversity and pulled out the win. Looking back at this season, what were some of your favorite games to play in out there?
I would definitely say, because this was my first time playing at Florida in the nighttime. Now, being down there, I always knew we were gonna win. That was never a thought. Like, I knew we were gonna win. But just being down there and seeing what everybody talks about, like with the swamp, and we were down at the beginning of the game, and just seeing like the crowd and everything going on, and me looking to my brother on the sideline, and he completely unfazed by anything going on. And I'm looking at this like, this is my first time playing at Florida. I'm like, man, this is crazy. And like my partners over here, they like ain't nothing going on. I look. They're like, ain't nothing going on. I look at Coach Norvell, he just like, I'm like, oh, yo, it's like, come on, man. That's it, what it is then. So, like, that was definitely a moment for me. Like, I think about that all the time. Like, that was definitely a moment. And then playing LSU, the first game, that was like a moment for me. Like, I was coming back from an injury and just seeing Keon do what he was doing that game. I saw Jay Trav doing what he was doing. I saw Lil Rod run a dude over, like, that was like a moment where it was just like boom, 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 boom. Like you saw everybody just clicking. Like those are moments I love. Like just seeing everybody clicking. Like the young guys clicking. Like everybody, even not third string. Like that's kind of bad to say, but like like it's about third string, second string players like doing what they do. Like that's fun to me. Like seeing the work that you put in through the week, and then seeing you get in the game and we turning up. Like come on, man. That's like it don't get no better than that. And then Clemson. That was a moment for me because I went down that game with a concussion. I think I left in the third quarter, and so they don't even know. They telling me not to watch the game, not to listen. Somebody you might have concussion, this that. Man, come on, man. I'm watching the game. When Keon scored, I ran to the tunnel, like I ran through the tunnel, about to go on the field. They're like, nah, you can't do that. But I was just so turned. Like you can't tell somebody not to do that. We just won, man. What you talking about? We at Clemson, I think they said the last time we won at Clemson was like 9 years. I'm like, bro, come on, man. You think I'm not finna turn up, bro? Come on, bro.
How mad were y'all as a defense with that personal foul call against Florida on Akeem Dent in the first quarter?
Bro, we were like, bro, what you want to do? Like, are we playing 7-on-7 or are we playing football?
Yeah,
we were hot by that, though. And that was a perfectly called play, too. Like, that was a play we've been working all week. Like, that was a perfectly called play.
How disciplined is Mike Norvell on the sideline? Because we could see him animated. What's coming out of his mouth? Is it available? Are we gonna get?
So he gets on us pretty hard through the week and practice, but like in the game setting, he tries not to ever like scream at us, yell at us, or anything like because he tries to keep us here. Like he never wants to bring us down or anything like that. So I mean, he's definitely calm. Until the ref make like a bad call or something like that. And you kind of see him like, you kind of see what we see through the week. Like he start booting up. It's like, he always say, don't let me talk to the ref. He was like, you don't talk to the ref. Let me talk to the ref. Because I'm going to cuss their ass out.
He was saying something in that Florida game.
Oh yeah, he be snapping. He be snapping for sure. He a real gangster. He be snapping for sure.
Go ahead, D-Lou.
Hey, we have to ask you this question, Jarrian, but can you just take us through, your feelings, your thoughts, and how it felt in the aftermath of obviously the historic college football playoff snub? And I mean, something that I'm sure, everyone in Tallahassee and people across the country agree was egregious and shouldn't have happened.
Man, that was wild. That was like I was kind of like when it happened, because I think when we were watching, when we had a little watch party and we were watching it, like I knew like if we didn't come in at 2, we were definitely coming in at 3. So when they put 3 and it wasn't us, like I just felt like I just went like numb. Like I knew we weren't getting in. Like I just felt kind of like numb. It kind of like put you in a sense of like, so like what else are you supposed to do? So what is football really actually about? So what is this really about? Like, what did y'all really want us to do? Because I always was told, like, this is how I think about football. Like, if my quarterback got hurt, we still went out and won. Okay, so what you're saying is, if we would have, like, what we were supposed to do? Like, if our quarterback getting hurt, like, that really didn't mean, like, it means a lot because that's Jay Trav. But, like, come on, bro. Like, we won, bro. Like, when do you get penalized for winning? Like, I thought that the name of the game was you win, you're in. Like, I always thought that was, you know what I'm saying, the name of the game. And for us to go beat Louisville, the number 13 team in the country, like, and beat them, and they didn't score one touchdown, I think that should have been the exclamation point of, yes, they're in. And so when they didn't do that, I could just kind of feel the energy of the team just kind of like wash down the drain. Almost like letting the water out the tub. Like, it just kind of got bad. And so my mindset was like, fuck college football. Like, I was like, shit, college football want to do this to me. Like this is scripted. Like they already knew what they wanted to do with them boys. Like, they knew they were going to put them in. So, like, what was our purpose of this? Like, you feel me? So I ain't gonna lie. I look at college football a lot different. Like, it's not even the same for me. It's not the same football I grew up watching. Like, it's not the same for me. And I don't respect college football. Like, I will never, ever respect college football again because nobody, after we beat Oklahoma and coming back that next week and starting tour of duty, our motto was January to January. We knew we were going to the playoff. Like, there was never a doubt about the playoff. When we went to that watch party, it was never a doubt if we were going to be in the playoff. It was, who are we playing? That's what we were trying to see, who we were playing. And to not put us in, like, I kind of just felt like that was the end of the road for me. Like, that was the end of, like, my college journey. Like, this is what this is. Like, okay, I'm on to the next step. Like, that was just, I mean, they did what they did. So it's kind of like, man, I mean, I ain't got nothing left to give, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that was, you could tell from y'all's mentality. I'd be filming you after games and you'd be celebrating a little bit, but you say on to the next always. Cause that was always, all right, we just beat you those 4 quarters, but now it's preparing for the next week and staying healthy, going to the training room and everything. But that was just the mentality of this team. And, you know, from the coaching staff down to the trainers, to you guys, everybody involved, it was just all about next week. Yeah, you won the ACC championship, but y'all were telling us down there on the field, we're on to this. We're on to, you know, whoever we're going to face in the college football playoff. And, you know, it was gutting to you guys. Y'all, we know how much work y'all put in. It's not easy. It is not easy. And I want nothing to do with it. It's easy for us just to sit there and take a couple pictures of y'all walking in and getting shots of you guys. But it's absolute hell what y'all have to go through, not just through tour duty, off-season workouts, but then going through practices. It's what, one break during a practice for like 5 minutes?
You better hope you get that break, because when he blow the whistle and he say walk over to the snacks and the break, he start the break when he blow the whistle. So, like, all that time you take to get to the water and drink it and all that, the clock is still rolling. You feel me? So, like, he don't really play no games with that. Like, break, like, boy, all right, 25 periods every day, boy. You better get it, boy.
And he's letting you know 3 minutes to go, 2 minutes. Y'all better start jogging. I mean,
30 seconds. You got a quick break. The next drill. If you're not at the drill at the 30 seconds, up down, get him chopping. I'm telling you, he ain't playing. That man not playing. For real.
At least on a like more happy stuff here. I got a question for you. We ask this to every guest that comes on, but what's your favorite food spot in Tallahassee? You've been there for quite a few years now, so I know if you got one or you've got a top 3, you got a handful, lay them out, but I know you've got to have a few of them right now.
It's called G&G's. It's like a Caribbean spot.
Okay.
My favorite thing to get there is the oxtails. Like, I'm a die about some oxtails. Like, I'm living and dying about them oxtails for real. Like, I love oxtails. I eat oxtails a lot. If I ain't eat that, it was Marco's Pizza. Marco's Pizza was up there for me. I ate Marco's Pizza a lot. Then next, Raising Cane's. I ate Raising Cane's a lot. Mm-hmm. And then other than those 3, it was more like Wendy's, McDonald's, the food they gave us at the facility, like stuff like that. But if I ate on my own and I wanted, like, if I told myself I'm gonna eat good tonight, I'm going to G&G's.
Hell yeah. That sounds good. That does sound good.
You kind of talked about your experience playing at Florida earlier in the show. Looking back on these rivalries, playing the Gators, playing Miami every year, you're going to leave Tallahassee a 2-game winning streak against Florida, 3-game winning streak against Miami. When you look back at those games, which team did you like competing against more? Which one did you dislike the most?
I ain't gonna lie, I hate both of them with a passion. Like I can go down like any one of them. Real. Both of them going on by their business. But yeah, if I could say one I like playing the most, I would say Miami. Cause like when we played Florida, it was kind of like they didn't even want to be there. Like they couldn't even believe they were playing us. But like when we played Miami, it was kind of like they came out there talking crazy, doing all that. Them the games I like to play. Like when they got there talking crazy, like doing all the extra stuff after the play. Them the fun games I like to play in. Cause then it's like this is a rivalry game. When we played Florida, it was just like brother, y'all boy want to play for real? Like y'all got up on us, but like we was tripping. Y'all supposed to just blew us out when we was tripping. But the fact y'all let it come, I know y'all don't want to play, man. Y'all don't really want to play. Like before the game, when they walked on the field in the rain, we standing there in the rain with everybody their headphones on, watching them walk on the field, and I can just see it in their eyes, like, but these boys do not want to be here. So I guess it kind of showed, like y'all was up on us like 12, 13. Well, come on, man, y'all could have blew us out, but you didn't. So I definitely feel like playing Miami was better. Like that was more fun. Both of them was sorry to me, but
Jarrian, I feel like I'm always watching you on the field, and I'm having to see multiple teammates of yours have to pull you back. And you've already said on here, yeah, you are the talker. Is there anybody else that was a bigger talker than you on the field?
Other than Verse, listen. I'm gonna tell you something. You gotta watch. Y'all may not know it, but Renato Duda, he be tripping out there. But he be tripping. He be tripping bad out there. Like he be talking so crazy. Like he'll say some stuff. You'll be like, whoa, like, boy, your mind is so far gone. Like when he go out there, he really just see like. How people say that I just see red. Like that's him literally. Like see red. Like see ball, get ball, kill ball. Like he got this thing. He say like catch a hat, and so he be out there on some like I'm finna catch me a hat today. Like he be tripping. I'm telling you, he be tripping. But that dude, for sure.
Go ahead, Dustin.
It was a long career for you in Tallahassee. Some ups, some downs since you arrived in 2020. When you look back on your career at Florida State, what are some memories that you're really going to cherish, either on or off the field? It's probably a lot, but
so many. It's so many, but I ain't gonna lie, winning the ACC championship, I feel like that was a moment that just set everything in stone. It kind of stamped the whole 4 years of me being there, everything that happened, transpired, and I went through being at Florida State. Like, I got this, the picture is my background save on my phone. Norvell holding the trophy up, and I'm just standing beside him. Got Fable standing beside him. Renardo, his daughter, like Jay Trav was up there, like all the guys that I've been doing it with these whole 4 years. So that was like a surreal moment for me. It was kind of like, man, like we did it. Like we said we were gonna bring Florida State back, and we did it. Like it took 4 years, but like you don't know what the process is gonna be like and look like. So like it was kind of like, man, like we did it. So, like if I could point out one moment, that was just like the most surreal moment because it kind of brought everything back full circle for me.
I've only got just like 2 more left, and appreciate you staying on here a little bit longer. But this has been a phenomenal interview, and the chat is loving every bit of it. And if anybody has any questions, real quick, just jump them in here. But for you, what do you see in this FSU team moving forward? Because it seems like Mike Norvell's might be a little pissed off after that college football playoff snub, and he's going out and grabbing everybody. Got a lot of Bama boys coming in. We were talking about Little. Junior 2 coming in. You're really excited about having him come in and play for Coach Surtain. But what do you think this future holds for Florida State? Because I think right now, that 2023 season, there was that high expectation of reaching the college football playoffs. But, now maybe 2024 isn't that expectation, but maybe are people sleeping on that? Should Florida State, it's a 12-team playoff too, worth mentioning next year.
The wrong Norvell that you want to see is the pissed off Norvell. So now I think people are starting to see like he's hitting the recruiting hard. he's bringing in guys that are ready to play right now. I know people see the 2023 season we just had, and it's like there's got to be a drop off. Like, but no, all we did was set the standard for what's coming, like what's supposed to be coming next. So like there is no like this is Florida State. There is no drop off. There is no like we don't even believe in that. We just believe in work, and then work works. So we believe if we put the work in, we're gonna get the results. We put ourselves in the best position to win, and so him going out and bringing in the players, like I think Florida State, like I feel like the standard is the standard, and so I feel like the expectation is what the expectation was, and what the expectation was to be our best, and so I feel like they're gonna go out and be their best. Like I'm excited to see Earl Little come in and do what he does. I definitely feel like he was the perfect person with all the attributes to come in and play the position that I play. I feel like he was that was a home run person to go get to do it. So I honestly feel like like the expectation for State to win and not win yesterday, win now. So that's what it is. I feel like it's gonna be exactly like the standards of what the standard was. I feel like they're gonna be right back in the same contention as they was this year.
I've only got one more, and I'll tie it into this question here on YouTube. But how excited are you getting ready to head into the NFL? That whole process there, you were telling us in the production meeting how much like it just is like hitting you now. Like you're about to be drafted in an NFL team, and they're going to grab you. But another question here asking, which NFL player growing up inspired you? Which one did maybe you looked up to when you were young?
Yeah, I'm excited about the draft because I wear this Florida State shit on my sleeve. Like this, I'm going to the league, and we got Sante in the league, Jalen, Derwin. Like we got Ronald Darby. Like we got DBs and PJ Williams. Like we got DBs in the league. So just to add on to that tradition and go in with my head down, ready to work, ready to play ball. I mean, with everything I've learned at Florida State and just bring it to the league, it's just that's just a blessing. I feel like Coach Norvell and Coach Pat and just the whole staff, they just got me ready for that next step and everything that goes into that. So, I mean, I feel like I'm ready, and it's definitely a blessing. And the NFL player that inspired me the most growing up, I mean, I didn't really watch football. Like a lot of watch college football. I never really watched like NFL growing up. Like I didn't know, like I said, I didn't start playing football until like that summer, my sophomore, going to my junior year. But like if I can name one player, it was always Darius Slade. Like I always felt like we had almost like the same body type. We kind of moved the same. He played offense a lot. Went to Mississippi State. So I always felt like, so we had the same body type and the same play style in a sense. So I always gravitated towards him. So I always felt like that was like, but if I could say a person that I just watched and it was like, man, that boy right there, like he one of the ones. It was Jalen Ramsey for sure. Like, come on, man, Jalen, what we talk about?
Has any of those former guys, have you been able to talk with some of them? Have they been able to reach out to you guys during your time at Florida State? I don't know if you tried to come visit.
I talked to Darius Slade a lot, but Renardo talks to Jalen Ramsey a lot. I still talk to Asante to this day. So yeah, I still talk to a bunch of them, but it's kind of hard to get in contact with Derwin James these days. So I keep in contact with a lot of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great to see. And like you said, kind of Florida State is DBU, but now y'all are just re-energizing that whole thing. And I think this class and then the upcoming class, man, Coach Surtain, as long as Norvell can keep them, Alfred's got a lot of work to do. He's gonna have to get that budget up, but the future is bright in that defensive back room. But we don't want to keep you on here any longer. We've gone over an extra 15 minutes with you, but deeply appreciate you. As you can tell, man, we haven't had so many comments in here loving the interview in a while. So I appreciate you, Jarrian, hopping on here and giving us some really good insight on the behind the scenes to this team, your growth as a player and as a person, Coach Norvell, everything, man. It was a phenomenal interview.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all so much, man. Florida State changed my life.
Man, thanks, it did. Man. You really are, Noel. You're tatted too and everything. You're full Noel.
Listen, let me say y'all something.
Oh my God. Hold up now. Hold on. Wait, let me put on the full screen so then everybody can see it. Do it again. Damn.
That's wild.
Did that shit hurt?
So bad. But I told them living it down by Florida State.
I fully. I mean, I already knew it, but god dang, man, that has got to be one of the biggest FSU tattoos I've ever seen. I think someone else on the team this last year, maybe Fabo. I know. Does Fabo have one?
A spear on his arm, right here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a big one too. Yeah, the spears are
Yeah.
fire. I love that. That's kind of like the throwback spear too. So a lot of FSU fans are gonna love that. That's awesome, man. Well, we're looking forward to covering you. We're gonna be full on content wise covering you guys going into the NFL draft and your pro day coming up, and then also the NFL combine. So we're gonna be hands on a lot of that. So looking forward to catching up with you during that. And best of luck, man. Stay safe, stay healthy, and looking forward to see which team picks you up, man. I wouldn't be mad if you came down to Tampa here with us. It'd be fun to cover you here with the Bucks. I could use some DBs.
Yeah, man. Got to tell them come get me.
Hey, I'll talk with Jason Light. We'll see what we can end up doing here in Tampa. But hey, appreciate you hopping on here, man.
Yes, I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Jarrian. Best of luck in the Shrine Bowl and with the process, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Well, that is Jarrian Jones, and it's like one of those that you just know it's going to be a good interview, and we kind of knew that whenever we were talking in our group chat earlier this week, just knowing when you land one of those guys like that, and he's a guy that brings up some great insight and a good trash talker, everything imaginable. He's just great for a podcast listen, but honestly, the insight that he gave us was really good, and I'm glad the listeners got to come on here and listen to all that.
That was awesome. That was exactly what we were hoping to hear from Jarrian, giving us that inside look at his career and, into the brotherhood that Florida State has really built over these last couple of years. And Jarrian, a guy who was there from the very beginning. So I don't think anyone better to tell that story.
I was not prepared for that spearhead tattoo. That was crazy.
No. That had to cost more than that the gear haul he was talking about going to pick and everything. That man. It's quite a tattoo.
Oh, man. That is a tattoo. I can't wait to clip that later for a tweet. That is phenomenal. He wasn't lying about it. He was telling us in the production meeting, he's like, I'm no blood. And I knew it. I knew it because you could just see him on the field, man. He represents FSU and he does it really well. And he's got a lot of pride in his time at FSU and falling in love with the university. So gonna be a great representation whenever he gets drafted and what he does further in life. Great guy and was really fun to cover at FSU. So we'll be keeping in touch with him and hopefully get an interview with him once he gets drafted. All right, let's jump into a handful of things. Do we jump into the breaking news that happened during the show with Florida State landing an offensive lineman?
Yeah, let's do it.
6'5", 305, Florida State lands an offensive tackle from Connecticut with Jacob Rizzi. This just happened, 20 minutes ago during our interview with Jarrian, but I don't have a lot of homework on this whatsoever. Never really do anyways. Yeah, I was about to say never really do anyways, but I had no idea. So Dustin, maybe during that time while we were talking with Jarrian, did you end up getting any else here that we can talk about?
Beautiful. Glad that you would go ahead and defer to me, but Jacob Rizzi.
All right, VZ, can you give us the rundown on Jacob Rizzi from Connecticut?
I got a couple things. He played at Harvard, obviously going to be a smart guy, has some experience playing on the interior. I think FSU is going to like him as a backup center, honestly, just to get some depth there. He's probably going to have to add some weight. I feel like at 305, it's going to be tough to keep up in the ACC. And also just an elite name. His name is Rizzi. Come on, man. We're going to be risen up the competition if I've ever seen it.
Okay, we could have used something. Could have used something better than that.
Bringing in an Ivy League grad transfer with 2 seasons of eligibility remaining. And, Rizzi, very versatile, started his career at center. I believe he's played a little bit of guard. And then at the last 2 years has played tackle for Harvard, was a second team All Ivy League back in 2022, improved this year to first team, and actually was at Florida State for an official visit. I think it was last weekend. I want to say Friday to Saturday, some type of visit like that. So Florida State was recently able to host him in person, get a chance to verify his measurements and everything, have him meet with the staff. And clearly everything went well for him to commit just a couple of days out of his trip to Tallahassee. And, now Florida State picking up a third transfer offensive lineman in this Tribe 24 class, which, man, is quickly growing in numbers. I think we're up to want to say 37 or 38 total incoming additions now between the high school signees and now all the guys that just continue to commit out of the transfer portal. So Florida State really doing a really big roster overhaul right here entering spring.
Yeah, might as well just get them all. Get them all. We know Coach Atkins, he likes building an army at the front line. So why not? But that's a big size human being. So I always just think about too what Coach Storms can do with some of these cats that I don't think have the just the kind of utilization that some of the big Power 5 teams can use at their disposal. And coming down to Florida State, you can just only imagine what they can do with some of these guys. So yeah, interested to see what ends up going there and how he integrates into Florida State's offensive line with Coach Atkins. Let's jump in. Yeah, it should be. It's always fun. Definitely whenever, Dustin, you go up there and you watch spring practice and you get a chance to at tour duty when you get a little sneak peek at that, seeing some of these newcomers there, and you really get to see the size of them. But once the pads come on too, these guys look ginormous. But we know what Coach Atkins likes, and he likes some experience back there. Let's jump into the schedule release because that definitely needs to be covered before it's too late. But Florida State's 2024 schedule has been officially released. As we know, there was a few games that we already knew of ahead of time, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here for everyone to see on the stream. For audio listeners, we'll run through all of them so you can listen.
Why are you looking at the 2023 schedule?
That's a 2023 one. Hold up now.
Goofy.
That's a 2023. Yeah, I don't see Florida State and Dublin, Ireland. But Florida State's going to start off the season at Dublin, Ireland. Who's ready to go have some beers in Ireland? Who's ready to go see Florida State versus Georgia Tech? I would say if Florida State was facing a better opponent here, it'd be more intriguing to go. I don't think Ireland's one of my biggest European places that I do want to go and visit. Is it y'all's? Am I ruining y'all's dreams?
I don't own a passport, so I don't think at this point I'm able to make it.
You don't have a passport.
The game.
We got some time. We can get you one.
I'm not overlooking this one. Georgia Tech, maybe a slouch in years past, but Brent Key doing some real things there in Atlanta, and I don't think this is a game that Florida State can afford to overlook. Need to come out strong and not only win the season opener, but also the conference opener.
I agree. Ireland is on my bucket list. Let me just say that. I don't want to diss Ireland here on the podcast. I do want to go there one day. But I do agree. I think if it's a better opponent, it'd make it a little bit more marquee. Like, I'd love for this to be the Notre Dame game. I think that would have been awesome.
That would fire. That's what I would imagine it would have been.
But either way, I think it's a good first step or a good first start. And like Dustin was saying, Georgia Tech's not a team to sleep on. They definitely surprised the people under Brent Key this year.
All right, we got it up here now. I'm going to try to get a bigger image on here so we can share it. But, there we go. Look at that. Technology. Well, that's not getting bigger now.
Technology.
There we go. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so after that, Florida State's going to face Boston College. We kind of knew that earlier in the week, but they're going to be facing Boston College on a Monday night in Doak, Dustin. That's going to be exciting. That'll be really fun to go to.
Should be
Monday
a good game.
Football.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. But season opener, that'll be the season opener for Boston College. And, we saw that game win up in Boston a year ago. Thomas Castellanos almost was able to pull an upset out. And then you also have Trayshawn Ward returning home to play against Florida State in colors that are eerily similar to what he used to wear at Florida State. So a lot of storylines.
Yeah, that will be fun. I love me some Trayshawn Ward. So be fun being able to watch him, and hopefully doesn't do Florida State too bad. A lot of talent there, but yeah, Castellanos, man, really fun quarterback to watch as well. We'll see what Boston College has going into this 2024 season. Florida State's going to have a bye week there on September 7th.
First of three.
Yeah, there's going to be 3, and I've got tweets all throughout the day on why they have 3 byes. It's because Florida State has a week 0 game. So if you go back a few years ago, Florida State having 3 byes shouldn't be too much of a shock here. Getting some
and also the college football season is starting a week earlier than normal.
There we go.
That's why every school in the country has 2 byes. Florida State's one of the few with 3 since they start in week 0.
Look at VZ's face. Oh, there you go.
That-
All right.
I'm learning.
There you go. Fun fact of the day. And then the next fun fact of the day, Mike Norvell's former team is coming into Tallahassee, Memphis on September 14th. He's going to be facing Memphis. Going to be fun there to watch that, but that's going to be Florida State's next home game. They're going to have actually 3 straight home games before they travel over to Dallas and face SMU.
Yeah, once again, 3 straight home games for the second season in a row. Granted, there's a bye week in between in this one, but I have a feeling Norvell is going to want to prove a point to his former team.
I do really like this stretch. Florida State gets 4 full weeks in Tallahassee, and BC, Memphis, and Cal. You would think that FSU is able to handle those opponents leading into their first road game against SMU. And this will also, that game against Cal on September 21st, that'll be the first ACC conference game for Cal. And then same thing when they go to SMU, that'll be SMU's ACC opener as well.
Which, by the way, SMU's first 2 ACC games are Florida State and Louisville. ACC said, hey, welcome, have fun.
Yeah,
After
enjoy.
Boston College got that win in the bowl game.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Best of luck. And then, as everybody always wants to know when it will be, we're going to be having Florida State versus Clemson on October 5th at home. Like Jarrian was saying, that was a wild game to be at up there in Death Valley. Now this time, Dabo's coming back down for some revenge. And if you think about it, DJ, Florida State's quarterback, is also going to be looking for maybe some revenge towards Dabo as well. So that's going to be the prime storyline to watch going into this one.
Really looking forward to that one. Florida State finally snaps that losing streak against Clemson, like Jarrian was talking about on the podcast, but still hasn't defeated them in Tallahassee since 2014. So this would be a big one to get a victory over the Tigers in Doak Campbell Stadium, and also a chance for DJU to match up against a school that he originally signed with out of high school. So another game where you're looking at a ton of storylines coming into it.
Yeah, if you look at home games this year, it's always headlined by Clemson. I feel like these days, just the way Florida's been the last few years. But yeah, there's DJU is going to be very prepped, very ready to go, very ramped up. I'm looking forward to that game. It's also the 3rd straight year Florida State's had a bye week after playing Clemson, which I'm personally a big fan of. That's always a big physical game, and you need some time to get healed up. I think it's perfect.
Yep, they're going to have a bye week, but then you're going to be playing on Friday, a little bit of a day earlier. You're going to play on Friday night at Duke. Going to be a little bit of a different team. Mike Elko no longer there. So going to be going to Duke for this one. This is going to be on October 18th. And then you're going to have another road game, your big rivalry, your biggest Florida rivalry to start off before facing Florida at the end of the year. You got Miami on October 26th.
And I'm liking the way this is lining up when you look at it, because this is the only 2-game road trip the Florida State's going to have to take all year, and you get the benefit of starting it coming out of a bye week. So you're going to have some extra time to prepare for that Duke game. And we know how much Florida State focuses on preparing for Miami throughout the season. It's one of the 2 teams that Mike Norvell talks about during the first team meeting of the year. So, it's going to be fun to have those 2 opportunities on the road, and then you get a chance to come back. And I really like that November stretch as well. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but to only have to travel away from Tallahassee one time in the final 5 weeks of the season, I think could be a big benefit for the Seminoles.
And you also get an extra day to prep for Miami with the Duke game before it. You'll be coming back to Tallahassee when most teams are playing their game. I think that's big, especially like you're just noting how much emphasis they put on that game. I think getting an extra day to prepare for it's never a bad thing. But this is definitely going to be the most telling 4-game stretch of the season. At Duke, at Miami, home against Carolina, and then at Notre Dame in November. It's probably going to be like 15 degrees, and I'm going to be miserable if I decide to go to that game, which I think I will. But it's definitely going to be the biggest 4-game stretch of the season.
Yeah, you're going to go ahead and take care of that one for us, because I will not. I've done my Notre Dame. I did it when I was younger, and that on November 9th is not going to be too fun. But the week prior to that is going to be North Carolina. They'll be coming.
I'm trying to go.
You go join. You be our 2 credentialed people going up there. You enjoy that. I'm going to stay in the warmth down here, and who knows, might have Todd Bowles might be taking this team. This could be a playoff run team down here with the Bucks. But No, but seriously though, North Carolina is the week before, and then at Notre Dame, I would imagine, yeah, that Notre Dame game is going to be a night primetime game. You got two massive fan bases, ratings, and they'll be on NBC most likely. So that should be fun. But yeah, that stretch right there at Duke, at Miami, then you're at home against North Carolina, and then you're at Notre Dame before your bye week on November 16th. That is going to be a big stretch for Florida State, as then kind of just be able to have some rest before going into your last two games of the season.
It'll be huge right before you get to play those final two FCS opponents to end things off.
Damn it, you beat me to it.
Damn, jeez.
Should we place bets if Napier will be there on November 30th?
Not looking at his schedule,
no.
I don't think he'll make it past week 5.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
I think they might keep him to the end and then fire him, but
for recruiting reasons, maybe. But nowadays, it's like shit.
That just had 7-game stretch. That I know a lot of people are talking about the 5-game stretch in the season, but if you take it 2 games further, it's Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss, someone else in Florida State. It's just an insane stretch. There's just no way he survives it.
I'm just ready to see the over/under on the win totals
for him. Yeah,
I mean, for Florida. I mean, how do you give them anything over? I mean, does the line start at 3.5 or 4.5?
I was going to say 4.5 because last year was what, 6.5 or 5? No, it was 5.5 last year,
and it was under.
It might be 3.5.
That's what I'm saying. It is a gauntlet of the schedule. You can't even make fun of Florida. I mean, it is a tough schedule.
Yeah, the SEC did them 0 favors whatsoever. I actually liked what the ACC did with the schedule. I don't love going to Ireland and then coming back to play another ACC opponent, but at least they get an extra day and it's on or a couple extra days. It's on a Monday, and then I feel like playing in the state of North Carolina on a weekday is always going to have freaky things. But at least you're playing Duke, who just got absolutely gutted with Elko going to Texas A&M, so could be worse.
Yeah, at Duke and then at Miami, a place where Florida State, I mean, the game was over at halftime the last time they went down there. So,
I mean, the game was over after the first drive.
Well, Georgia game, yeah. I mean,
we're not talking.
You're
about
right. You're right, but
we don't
make sure you're giving some context.
What Georgia?
Fans might be after
game?
You.
Yeah, I don't know what game you're talking about.
I don't even know when's the last time FSU played Georgia in football. I just remember the basketball game.
I try not to.
I'll be more happy going down to that Miami game. That'll be a lot better of a drive. But we still had a good time down there as us staying in the Airbnb together. We still had some fun.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
We did have a good time.
Well, at least when I wasn't sick, which was most of the week.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
And before I suffered a hematoma.
Hematoma?
On my hip.
Oh, yeah. Falling in the shower in the Airbnb. I don't know why we didn't even talk about that, but
did we not?
Much going on.
We didn't. I figured out, why Life Alert is such an important thing, and I've actually ordered one. So
this man fell in the shower. I was trying to take a nap because it was a 8 a.m. press conference, 9 a.m. press conference
every morning, yeah.
And I was still getting over getting sick, so I come back trying to fall asleep. I hear this thud in the shower, thinking he dropped his phone or dropped the shampoo bottle in there or something. Nope. No. Dustin has a tennis ball sized bruise on his leg by the time it comes out.
I dropped my whole body.
Did you really? Your whole body?
My whole body. I was standing straight. I was standing, on one hip.
Yeah, hey, easy. I mean,
and then my head slammed.
That's impressive for his hip to hold on with that much weight.
Y'all make fun of me for the hip jokes. At least mine just happened naturally. He fell in the shower.
It was a natural fall.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
Natural fall.
There's nothing natural about falling in the shower.
It's a natural.
I slipped. I mean,
well, at least you didn't slip in your back. So something easy has had happened before.
Never do that.
Relax.
Easy has had that happen before. So,
oh my god,
yeah. Once the off season, once it gets really boring, we have nothing else to talk about. We'll just go back and look at clips. How about that? But anyways, for audio listeners, Florida State's going to finish off its season November the 23rd against Charleston Southern, and then at the very end, Florida at home, the Gators, which Jarrian said, sorry, both Miami and Florida, sorry. So I agree with them. I do agree with them, but I think Florida State should have quite the edge. Definitely, if we're not expecting maybe Billy Napier to hang around, the Seminoles should have a good shot there to end off the regular season with a W.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's
the way
just
sets
so
up.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not a bad setup. Like this is like the first time that I've seen FSU Twitter not go bananas or freak out. Like I saw last year, it was kind of that way. Some freak outs here and there. Then it settled in. Like, okay, Florida State can take care of this. It was going to be a hard stretch to start off the season, but this one's fairly in their favor. They're just going to have that one pretty decent stretch at Duke. Not so worried about that. It's a Friday night game. You're at Miami, but that's not an atmosphere that you're worried about. You got UNC at home. At Notre Dame is going to be a battle, and I think Florida State is such a different team than what we've seen in previous years. Go travel up there, and play the Irish. So I think it leans really good in FSU's favor. I think just starting off with 2 ACC teams is big for them as well, because as we learned this last year, there was no divisions. Florida State can start off leading the ACC right off the bat, and I think that's something Mike Norvell and the staff likes. Just let it be on your own. You take care of business and you go get your wins, and yeah.
And once again, they're done with conference play in early November. This time it's the first weekend of November by the 2nd. So, by early November, you're already going to know if you're going to be in Charlotte. I think that's a big benefit for the rest of the season. Kind of get one of the early goals checked off out of the way early. I also just love the way the bye week set up. You have 2 games, bye week. You get to figure out some of the kinks for those first couple games. Play 4 games that kind of ramps up, like kind of gets a little bit more difficult each week. Ends in Clemson, bye week. Another 4 games, bye week, and then 2 games and hopefully an ACC championship game after that last bye week. I just think it's so well spaced out. This is the best made schedule they've had in a few years.
That was what I was going to say. I think it lines up a lot better than maybe when we were looking back at 2022 or even last year's schedule. And like you said, the bye weeks come at a perfect time. The stretches aren't too difficult. I mean, you remember last year, Florida State had to deal with the early bye week, and then I think finished the season playing on 7 of the final 8 weeks leading up to that ACC championship. So, getting those bye weeks is going to be huge. And then, getting a chance to come out of the gate and play these conference teams, but really that middle stretch where you go to Clemson, Notre Dame, like that's where we're going to really learn about this team. And I think them having some time to kind of ease into things with the game against Georgia Tech, which I said is going to be harder than expected, BC as well. But then you get to play against Memphis, California, and SMU, who, I'm not too high on. I think Memphis is probably the best out of those trio of teams.
SMU's gotten a lot of talent in the transfer portal. I think they've done as good of a job as anybody that's not Florida State and Louisville at acquiring talent this offseason. I think it's going to be a sneaky game. I am planning on being there, though.
You're planning on being there?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go.
Dallas is a great city.
We got like one less road game next season, so we got to get that budget right.
Yeah, only four road games, and one of 2 of them, one of us lives 2 hours away from. With Logan pretty close to Miami, I'm pretty close to Duke, so just got to figure out the other 2.
It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking at Notre Dame's here specifically. That's one that just really highlights for me, of course, a Clemson game, but Notre Dame's gonna have a bye week before they face Florida State. Their biggest game that they're going to be, I'm just looking now, this is how it is, and this is where we're at. Now I've got to look at, on FSU's schedule, which team is actually going to stay good and be ranked to where Florida State is going to make it. And I mean,
it doesn't matter anymore.
Championship, you erase that. But I still have to go through these things in my brain. I think a lot of FSU fans are as well. Let's say you're in the ACC championship, you lose a close game, Clemson. What do things do here if, Notre Dame's ranked higher? They're only facing Texas A&M. Outside of that, they have Louisville. If Georgia Tech actually ends up being decent, yeah, you can say that. But, a win against Mike Elko in his first year with Texas A&M, I think that's going to take a little while for them to get kicking. Louisville, they can have a chance to be a threat, but Notre Dame should be ranked pretty highly to where Florida State's going to go on the road. If you get a win on the road at Notre Dame, they're coming off of a bye. That's just huge for their resume, just no matter what kind of scenario we're in, because that's where we're at right now. We just went through something ridiculous and this past season. But I know there's 12 teams, but take care of business, go to the ACC championship. You win, you don't have to worry about it. But I'm just, We're still dealing with the college football playoff committee. They're not gone. They're still here.
I think the good thing is we're moving to the 12-team format. So as long as Florida State can have a relatively successful season, I think 12-0 is obviously ideal in the regular season. But if you're able to go 11-1, maybe even that 10-2 mark, and 10-2, and you qualify for the ACC championship and win and get into the 12-team playoff. But there are some scenarios where even if you lose a game or two, you're still going to make it to the postseason.
They got to be good losses.
It's stupid to even talk about after everything the last couple of weeks with going from 4 and then now we're at 12 again. But I think Florida State, they should be able to make it.
Also, am I tripping, or does Notre Dame only play 11 games next year?
I've got it right here. I can share it to my screen.
3, 4,
but
5, 6, 7.
Let's count them up.
Yeah, it's 11. So they only play 11 games next year. That's weird in this day and age of football.
Here we go. That's Notre Dame's schedule. They start off the season at Texas A&M.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've got Louisville.
Texas A&M has talent. Like no one's going to deny that. It's just whether Elko can get them coached up or not.
Mm-hmm. Louisville, they've got at home. The Georgia Tech game's in quote neutral site, but they're still in Atlanta. But yeah, you'll see at the end of the season, but that doesn't really matter. Florida State faces them. So, yeah.
Hopefully they add another game. Hopefully they add another game before us. If they do add a 12th game, instead of being between Virginia and USC, hopefully it's just before the Florida State game. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the schedule. We might dive deeper into it later on. Look at some of the opponent schedules and how, who they're facing before they face Florida State, all that kind of stuff, and their bye weeks, yada, yada, yada. But I thought that was worth mentioning about Notre Dame because that one's going to be a fun one up there in the cold. Let's jump into these really quickly. Don't need to jump into this for too long here, gentlemen. But number one, when you start off with Joshua Farmer, signing with the Battle's End. I think all of us on here last week were talking about Darrell Jackson. Darrell Jackson's signing with Battle's End. So is Joshua Farmer. Those two are hand in hand. But Florida State, though, getting Joshua Farmer back, though, is huge for that interior defensive line. And as a playmaker, he disrupts. And it's someone that, Odell Higgins and Coach Adam Fuller really wanted to have back. And I'm glad some things were figured out and yada, 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 NIL, whatever. But just as a player overall, Florida State's getting their stud back and one of their star defensive tackles for this next season, one of their most productive guys as well.
It's massive. He's coming off a breakout campaign in 2023. And Joshua Farmer, ever since he got to Florida State, he just continued to develop and get better. Think back to when he signed with FSU as a 3-star prospect in the 2021 class and only weighed, I think, about 240 pounds or so around the time. And then since then, in that strength and conditioning program, working every year to just get better and better. And I thought we saw some of those signs in 2022, but then it really turned into these big flashes this past season, especially with him holding down that starting role in a interior defensive line room that had so much talent, including Fabian Lovett, Braden Fisk, Malcolm Ray, Dennis Briggs, Daniel Lyons, a lot of really good guys in that group. And Joshua Farmer was the one who was able to earn the most consistent playing time among them. Now, he was limited by that hand injury down the stretch of the season, obviously kept him out of the Orange Bowl, but I think if he's able to get back healthy, it's going to be another really big year for him as long as he can continue to improve this offseason. And I think there's a lot of motivation for him. He's obviously potentially got a future at the NFL level, but now with him coming back, Darrell Jackson is going to be eligible going into the 2024 season. These guys are going to be able to play alongside each other, starting there on the interior at Florida State, going into their respective money years. And they both changed their numbers. You got Joshua Farmer now at number 5. I know, Austin, you were talking about how you don't like Jackson being number 6. I know you got 5 and 6 locking down the interior defensive line. And 5 plus 6 equals 11. That's Patrick Payton.
Oh God, you wrote this down.
You're gonna have a lineup that goes 5, 6, 7 when Marvin Jones Jr. is in there.
Oh wow!
There you go. Look at that.
And
Come
who's
on,
wearing four? Who's wearing 4 on defense this year? Do we know yet?
Lester.
That's
or
right.
as Dustin's. Is this Dustin's article?
Who goofed?
Yeah, Dustin. Or Charles Kester the third.
Oh, nice.
Charles
Nice.
Kester the third. No, let's run through some of these newcomer numbers, though, these jersey numbers. Earl Little Jr., Jarrian, big fan of him. Alabama transfer. He's going to be wearing number 0, which is formerly of Fabo. What do you think about DB wearing 0?
I'm trying to
This
picture
one's
it.
interesting.
I feel, to me, if you're wearing 0, you got to be a tiny dude. Like, it fits Ja'Kai perfectly.
Yeah. Just like a little gadget guy.
Earl Little's not little. I know that's what his name is. But it's just.
Oh my god. All right. Anyways, we're not going to definitely dive into all these. We'll be here for 30 minutes because there's a ton of names here. But Cam Davis wearing number 3. Thought he'd go with 4, but you know who's going to be wearing number 4? Is Florida State starting quarterback in 2024 is DJ. He's going to be wearing number 4 for Florida State.
I know you said we're not going to touch on all of them, but I've thought Cam Davis has been Cam Akers all along, so to see him in number 3 is just perfect for me.
Yeah, it just brings back memories of some good times. But Jalen Brown, LSU transfer wide receiver, is going to be wearing number 6. Marvin Jones Jr., like you said, VZ, number 7. Georgia transfer defensive end. Alabama wide receiver. It's crazy. LSU, Georgia. It's like starting to all hit me in the head. But Malik Benson is going to be wearing number 10 for Florida State, the wide receiver position. Defensive end transfer, Sion Lelahea is going to be wearing number 13 for Florida State.
No.
Running back transfer, Speedy, Indiana. I'm telling you, he's going to be a speedy demon for Florida State's offense. Jalen Lucas is going to be wearing number 13, previously of Florida State great Jordan Travis. Luke Kromenhoek, number 14. We already knew that. Kai Bates, 14. Already knew that. Lawayne McCoy, wide receiver, number 15. Alabama transfer linebacker Sean Murphy is going to be wearing number 15. Freshman tight end Landon Thomas is going to be wearing number 18, formerly of Tate Rodemaker. Jamari Howard is going to be wearing number 18. Who do you think of number 18 first off the bat when you think defensively for Florida State? I think Travis J.
That's insane.
Isn't that wild? Maybe in the chat.
Defense number 18.
Blake Nicholson. Because I've been drawn into my head for the past year.
Yeah. You keep thinking about that one, VZ. I got defensive line transfer, Tommy Wah. Durahui is wearing number 19. Now, that's the way to say it. That's the way to say it.
You know, the first 18 that came to mind was Roderick Hoskins.
Roderick Hoskins. Yeah, I remember Roderick. That
Thumper of a
actually
linebacker.
stands out. Yeah, big boy. Big boy. Defensive back Devontae Brown to be wearing number 22. Roydale Williams, Alabama transfer running back. He's going with number 24. Offensive line transfer from Florida. Richie Leonard is going to be wearing number 67. We got a 69 guy, and it's going to be coming from Alabama with Terrence Ferguson, the second.
Nice.
Offense. Yeah. Nice job, Terrence. Thank you for taking that up for us. Jaden Todd, offensive lineman, is going to be wearing number 78. BJ Gibson, true freshman wide receiver, is going to be wearing number 80. And then Camden Fryer going to be taking Kentron Poitier's number, which we're about to talk about here. He changed his number. He's going to be wearing number 88. Camden Fryer, true freshman wide receiver, who we're all excited for on this show. We very highly of him, had him on the podcast as well, but I think he's an absolute freak, and Florida State needs that good wide receiver, that speedy guy that just irritates defenses and fans, and that's where Camden Fryer comes in. Florida State's been looking for years, and they finally got one of them. So Camden Fryer, and then Grady Kelly is going to finish us off here, defensive lineman wearing number 90. And then we got some returnees changing their jersey numbers. We're going to watch Shyheim Brown go from 38 to 1. How are we feeling about that? 38 to 1. I kind of like Shyheim in 38. I got used to it.
Yeah, I kind of vibe with the 38.
He's going to be taking Akeem Dent's former number. So then we got another number 1 switch here. Poitier is going from number 88 to number 1. Number one's back on offense.
It was what, Winston Wright last year?
Winston Wright.
Yeah,
Yep, Winston for a little bit.
whatever.
Like as we talked about earlier, Joshua Farmer's going from number 44 to number 5. Daryl Jackson to number 6 from 14. Here we go. Big one here. We talk about what Jarrian. Azurity Thomas is going from number 20 to 8. The Ocho. That is a big number to have on Florida State's defense. Going back to a lot of years ago, I always just think of Timmy Jernigan there. My favorite Florida State player. Omar Graham Jr. is going from 36 to 9.
That one's interesting.
That one is interesting to me at linebacker.
I don't love it. To be honest, I don't love it.
Shout out to D-Mac. Now over Colorado. Yeah.
Sure.
Blake Nicholson. Yeah. Blake Nicholson, 18 to 20. Not much of a big, just 2 numbers going up to 20. Jaden Jones is going from 22 to 44. He's going to take Joshua Farmer's number. But that's, I like that on a defensive end now. I do like the 44 over there. 22 doesn't sound like a defensive end to me. And then Edwin Joseph is going from 13 to 33.
I mean, 13's a way better defensive back number to me.
Yeah.
Didn't someone take 13 on defense? One of the incomers, or am I wrong?
I would imagine it had to be a transfer. If not, he just wanted to go to 33. I don't know.
Which I can't buy that.
Did you say Blake Nicholson's number change?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And then real quick here, let's mention some guys that assigned with the Battle's End. Ja'Kai Douglas, Ashland Barker, safety, Cam Davis, true freshman running back coming in, Jalen Lucas, the Indiana transfer, and Kai Bates, the true freshman defensive back.
And
easy.
Since then,
what else?
Since you put that note down, also Terrence Ferguson and Tomiwe Durojaye have signed with the Battle's End.
Nice. That's what we love to see. Guys getting paid, and shoot, Jarrian, man. God, I wish I could have played college football or had any chance of a sport and college. That would have been great, because Jarrian just gave us a little scoopage on what he spent before he left Tallahassee on some FSU gear, and they're getting taken care of. They're getting taken care of. So shout out to the Battles and all that going on there and taking care of the players. But some big signings there to have. VZ, real quick, finish us off, because, man, Florida State got a big win last night on the road against Syracuse in dominating fashion. Leonard Hamilton, like you said here, welcome to the Hamsterdam. Basketball's back for this week. It's back.
Before we get to that, a little bit of trivia for you. With DJ wearing 4, who was the last quarterback to wear 4 for Florida State?
Xavier. No.
And I will say quarterback.
What, was there a position change? Let's see if the chat knows it too. The last quarterback to wear number 4 for Florida State. And it was actual quarterback.
Don't tell me it was Anquan Bolden.
It was Anquan Bolden. 2001, he was listed at quarterback and wore number 4.
Jeez.
Wow. Throwback.
Yeah,
I would have never known that.
Basketball. First, Miami game. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Miami game, and Matthew Cleveland throwing up the stinker of all stinkers. 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 of 8 from the floor. As I tweeted after the game, double agent Matthew Cleveland, because he was playing for Florida State once again, beating Miami. It was a great game. It was a game Florida State honestly needed, and they came out and played great basketball. It looked like they were going to run away with the game a little bit in there in the second half, but Nigel Pack made it interesting, hit some unbelievable shots, but Florida State responded and came away with a big win in Coral Gables. I thought that said a lot about what this team can be. And it's always good when you beat a former player who transfers to your rival. And the team definitely seemed like they weren't having any of it with Cleveland. Cleveland looked distraught throughout the game. I mean, he was fumbling passes out of bounds. His shot selection looked like he hadn't played basketball in 3 years. Just was not a great showing from him, and I couldn't have been happier. It was very fun to watch live. I'll leave it at that. The Clemson game on Saturday was disappointing. The offense just couldn't get anything going. And honestly, credit to Coach Brad Brownell at Clemson. He just continuously switched up their defense in timeouts, going from zone, going to man. You could tell Florida State just wasn't in a rhythm on offense, and it cost them in the second half. Clemson really took over down the stretch. Then Florida State, like you were just saying, huge win last night in the Dome in Syracuse. Another game that was, back and forth for the first half. Syracuse started to separate a little bit there in the first couple minutes of the second half. Those final 14 minutes were all Florida State. I want to say they outscored Syracuse 38-17 over the final 13 minutes and change. Jameer Watkins, what an incredible find by this staff. Career high 27 points, and they needed all 27. He completely set the tone physically. Just whenever Florida State was in a rut, he says, okay, I'll put my head down and get to the rim. And he got to the rim absolutely whenever he wanted to. 11 rebounds, 3 steals. Baba Miller had a great game with 12 points. Primo Spears ended up with 13. Cam Corn ended up with 10. They forced 16 Syracuse turnovers, and I think Florida State as a team only had 9, which these are the 2 best teams in the conference in forcing turnovers. So to only cough up 9 against Syracuse, that's a really good performance by this team. It's a great win. And, I said in the preview article, there's very few must-win games in January, but coming off the Clemson loss and having to play North Carolina on Saturday, this was arguably a must-win, and they did that. They did what they had to do to come away with almost a 20-point win in the Dome, which is very impressive. They're the first team to beat Syracuse in the Dome all season. That's not something you should take lightly.
Just took them to town in the second half. I mean, Florida State it was a close game back and forth in that first half, and they just took it to another level. Jameer Watkins pretty much said, I'm not walking out of here without a victory. I mean, he almost ripped the rim down.
Yeah.
I don't know if you talked about that dunk. I mean, just crazy powerful dunk. And then he came back a couple minutes later with another one. Florida State, getting back on track the right way after that loss to Clemson, and, still plenty of promise in Tallahassee coming into a huge game against North Carolina on Saturday. I think if they win this one, would you say they're firmly getting into that talk of being a bubble team?
Yeah, there's a few, what's the term for it? Bracketologists, I think they call themselves. There's a few people I've already seen that said if they beat Carolina on Saturday, they're in that next 4 out picture, which if you consider how the season started, right now they're sitting with 3 quad 3 losses to SMU, Georgia, and Lipscomb. If you beat North Carolina and you're all of a sudden in that picture, that's a huge turnaround from where they were just a month ago. And it's incredible. At the same time, they're 6-2 right now in the ACC. 2 years ago, they were 6-2 in the ACC and then lost 7 or 8 straight. So they've got to be able to respond here, continue to stack wins on wins. And, obviously what happened 2 years ago was a crazy situation where almost your entire team got hurt. You're playing 6 guys every night. This team's healthy. They're finding consistency offensively. And I saw some people last night go, why are we not rotating when Syracuse is driving to the basket in these quick scenarios? The adjustment Florida State made was we cannot allow this game to keep going slow. We need to speed them up at whatever cost. So they threw Jameer Watkins and Jalen Warley at Judah Mintz in the backcourt, which either made him go fast to get a quick bucket or give the ball ahead and get a quick shot attempt. And whatever the result was, they were fine with it. And Syracuse, 3 minutes after that, they were gassed. They were so tired. They could not keep up with the pace that Florida State was establishing then, because as soon as Syracuse attempted a shot, Florida State was getting a defensive rebound and pushing the pace on the other end. And you saw them turn those into points with lobs. Primo Spears finally connected on lobs. Jalen Warley had a nice couple. Jameer had a nice pass for a lob. They were just doing what we've seen Florida State do, 4 or 5 years ago, taking advantage of these situations, and they're playing with a purpose. They weren't doing that a month ago. And it's fun to see. It's fun to see a competent basketball team again. And even if they don't make the tournament, which who knows, we still have almost 6 weeks, 7 weeks until Selection Sunday. There's still a lot of basketball to be played. But it's fun just to have a decent basketball team again, whatever the result ends up being. Hell of a job by this coaching staff to get them back to where they are now. Because this team was dead a month ago. No life whatsoever.
Mhm.
No, I remember we were talking about. We were like, well, at least we had one fun episode of basketball this season when they started going on that downswing. And after last year, who knew if they were going to be able to climb out of it? But I think it's a testament not only the coaching staff, but the new players that came in, the guys that stayed from last year to battle back and go out there and win. Was it now 6 of their last 7?
Yeah, 6 of the last 7.
So they're on a really hot streak now, going into an important stretch of conference play. And you go and beat a top 10 UNC team. I think you're feeling really good about yourself as you get towards February.
Not only top 10, they're 3rd in the country right now. Like, they're playing as good as basketball as anybody. They have a 2-game lead over anyone in the ACC, which, by the way, Florida State is 2nd in the ACC, which is just, if you had told me that a month ago, I would have thought the world ended. It's going to be a fun matchup on Saturday. Florida State played them really well in Chapel Hill. They just couldn't quite close it down the stretch because UNC does what UNC does, and they go on these crazy long runs fueled by RJ Davis, who, by the way, is coming off a career-high 36 points. I don't know if you want me to say that or not. I'm fully expecting him to have 40 points on Saturday because RJ Davis is just a killer. He's so good. But it should be a good game. And if Florida State's offense shows up, it should be a really, really competitive game.
I'm looking forward to watching that. That'll be really fun. And Delu, you're going to show up. You're going to be there, right?
I'm going.
Wow.
Going to have some beers and some dogs.
And
that means
I will actually not be able to cover the game.
Me neither.
Whoa.
I will be catching up with Coach Gates and CWAX. I'm going to go watch Mizzou at South Carolina. They play at 1 and Florida State plays at 2. So I'll be watching the game on my phone at the South Carolina game, but won't be able to cover it, sadly.
Wow.
So you chose that over FSU.
So here's the thing.
North Carolina.
Here's the thing, right?
Wow.
When the schedule was first announced, the South Carolina game was at 2 and the Florida State game was at 4. Like, perfect. I don't have to worry about it. Now the South Carolina game's at 1 and the Florida State game's at 2. So I'm not very happy about that. But I told him I was going.
It's all right. I live tweeting. I don't know. It's been a while since I've done basketball live tweeting. So
yeah, I'll do my best. Like I said, I'll be watching the game from my phone, so I may just have to update it during media timeouts, and then I'll write a recap article on my phone before I drive back to Charlotte. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit different for me.
Well, I'll be sipping a beer while you're doing that.
Yeah, Dustin's gonna be there, just hanging out, chilling.
I'm hoping to bring the good energy. But last week my parents went to their first game of the season where FSU played Clemson, and
it was their worst offensive performance in over a month. So
they did not win. So I'm hoping, hey, maybe you put me in there instead. Bring the magic.
If we lose, we're blaming it on Dustin. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, 1,000.
That's fine. I think FSU is going to win this one by 7 points.
Wow. I would be thrilled. I would be thrilled if Florida State comes away with a win Saturday. I was saying on Twitter yesterday, it's the first time I've smiled watching Florida State basketball in 2 years.
Smiled. That's so
sad. I was joking about it on Discord. At some point last year, you put "Sad Austin Veazey, lead basketball writer" is my name in here. Yeah. That was my header on Twitter for a year and a half, and I finally changed it last week.
Look at that. Times are changing. But I appreciate everybody in here. Almost up to 100 likes on here. We haven't had that happen in a very long time. So appreciate everybody on YouTube hanging out with us, all of our audio listeners, definitely specifically our YouTube people. Y'all are absolutely going wild on there. Like 7,000, 8,000 views. Definitely got to give props to probably our guests coming on here. But even before that, y'all are really loading up our YouTube channel with some views and tuning in and comments and everything. So it means the world to us, Ed, to think that a lot of y'all and thousands maybe are listening to us talk and just chatter about something that we love talking about, and football, basketball, recruiting, transfer, all this kind of stuff is astonishing to me sometimes. So I appreciate a lot of the love that we've had the last couple of episodes. Shout out to also our audio listeners if you're over there too, on Facebook, Twitter. Appreciate everything. Have a great rest of y'all's week. As always, you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. If you're on that YouTube, help us get to 100 likes. Would definitely deeply appreciate it. But Yeah, and yes, we will be blaming Dustin if they lose because he's there in attendance. All of us are not there, me and VZ specifically. So if Dustin goes and they lose in North Carolina, no matter how good North Carolina is, it's all blame is on Dustin, and we'll start off the show talking about that. So, anyways, you have a great weekend. Appreciate y'all, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday at 7 p.m. with another guest. We have another guest locked in. We might have two.
Who is it?
It's starting to load up. The list is starting to load up. Who is it? In the trenches. We're heading into the trenches this time. We were in the trenches with Braden. We went a little bit in the backfield a little bit there with Jarrian. Tonight, we're going back in the trenches. But this time, is it offensively or defensively? It's going to be offensively. So there's your good tip. We'll see you guys next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Peace.